Hey everybody, welcome to part 3 of Is Krav Maga Effective? Now, if you haven't seen the first two, they're really kind of critical before you see part 3 because part 3 really will, it jumps to conclusions that I assume you've already seen the first two. Now, before we get to part 3, I just want to take a moment to once again ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It's really important. It really helps us get the information out. And also share it with your friends. It's been amazing the comments that I've got from a lot of you, how much you're enjoying the content. I'm enjoying giving it to you. And the fact that you're actually sending around and getting more people to come see this content, much appreciated. So now, on to part 3 of Is Krav Maga Effective? So now we're going to go to video number 3. Now, this is something else in the Krav community that's really, it's really fractioned a lot. This guy talks about commercial Krav Maga versus real Krav Maga. And I understand he's an Israeli. He's filming this in Israel. And he makes some very good points in this. And I'll point it out. But I want you to see, even though he makes good points, he's still going to show things that don't end up with an injury or could end up actually injuring you. And again, a couple of adjustments here and you'd be spot on. We'll talk about that as the video goes. Let's play it.
Hey guys, good morning from Israel. This is Antonio. He's here to train with me. Today the topic is why commercial Krav Maga is bullshit. Now, I see many videos, many techniques of a lot of organizations. I just want to make something clear. When something happens to you in the street, you don't really know what's going to happen. And if the attacker is doing something, there will always be a gap of time between his action and your reaction. Let's talk about a simple thing like a shirt grab. Now, first of all, I don't know what Antonio is going to do. Maybe he's going to push me. Maybe he's going to pull me to a headbutt. Maybe he's going to punch me. Or maybe he just wants to see where I bought the shirt. I don't know. If you have like a zillion techniques taking care of a simple situation like that, you have a problem. Because until I will go through a checklist in my head to figure out what technique I want to do, Antonio will do something to me. Now,
okay, I'm going to stop it here. He's made some very valid points here. What he's saying is that, hey, I see people, he decided to do a shirt grab. And he's saying, listen, if you're sitting there trying to think of 20 different techniques to deal with this, you've missed the point. He's basically saying a version of what we say all the time is that principles will save your life, techniques will get you killed. When I show a technique, if I show anything where I say, hey, okay, guy grabs you here, you strike here, strike here, strike here, that is to coordinate you. It is not the way we think it would ever go down in real life. It's to sit there and show you various parts of the human body that are options to you. And my goal in giving you a set number of strikes, and that's only after we've laid a really good foundation where you can make your own decisions in free fighting on how to strike the human body and get results. As soon as I know you can take care of yourself, then I will work on your coordination. I will give you a set, what you would say is a self-defense technique. And I'll make you move in ways that you probably wouldn't do on your own accord. And the goal is to expand your ability to, use your body and strike and get an injury on somebody. I'm going to force you to do something that you normally wouldn't do. But I have no illusions. I do not think it would go step 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just a way that I can sit there and set up a combination of strikes that you yourself wouldn't choose and will result in better coordination, better accuracy, better correctness. It's a big difference between saying, hey, he grabs me from the right and this is what I do each and every time. That'll get you killed. Okay? Now let's hear him some more. So far, I like everything he's been saying.
When somebody's holding your shirt, we need to address a few things. First of all, natural reaction of many people. Many people will put their hands up. A lot of people will catch the hand or will try to break the grip somehow. This is number 1. Number two, Antonio, if he wants to attack me, needs to move his weight forward. That means that I will always want either to keep the head away or punch him so he cannot move forward with his body weight, either to give me a headbutt or a punch. Now let's talk about commercial Krav Maga technique. I saw this technique, 1 and 2. Now I'm asking you, if you want to punch his face, why should you address this hand? Punch his face immediately, and that's it. It's very simple. You don't need to waste time on useless things. Then I saw another technique. Catching the arm like this and breaking the thumb down. Now, listen guys, who's catching the arm like this naturally? Nobody. Most of the people, 99.9% will catch like this and not.
Okay, I'm going to stop it here. He's made some good points. He's saying, hey, this is what I saw, and he's calling it commercial Krav Maga. And basically what he's saying, people that just use set techniques in their training, probably instructors that don't have a year, a lot of training behind them. They're probably one of the guys that went to the weekend, instructor course or multiple weekend instructor courses, and they just pass on whatever they were taught in the course. They don't actually have principles that they're training. He actually was talking about a principle, in there. Hey, you don't want to do this. Why would I waste my time doing this when I can go? He's basically saying direct to injury. I love it. That's great. Here's the problem. What did he do? I thought he was going to correct himself when he showed, hey, I've seen this before, and he shows a punch, and the punch goes right to the chin, like literally right here on the chin each time. Again, that's a hard surface. I'm not saying you're not going to get a result, but you also have a really good chance of, injuring your hand. And, I assume you're going to need your hands. Remember, the fist is something that you really have to train yourself to use it properly. And it really is a lousy meat club. It just is. There are so many other areas of the human body, like the ulna bone, first, couple of inches down the break of the wrist here. This is just your own personal piece of pipe. It's really easy. You can't really screw it up, But that said, each time he went to the chin. Now let's just think about it. Go down about 2-3 inches. What are you going to get? You're going to get the throat. First of all, you're going to get a soft area, cartilage. You're going to crush it. You're going to get a much bigger result. You're going to start the asphyxiation process if you're successful. So again, accuracy and correctness, understanding trauma to the human body, basic anatomy. These are the things that the people that really know how to use violence focus on. This is why I do the research that I do, in the prison systems, not to glorify these guys, but what do they do? The number one gangs, I have video talking about the Mexican Mafia, Black Guerrilla Family, Aryan Brotherhood. They all study anatomy. And they don't study anatomy because they want to be doctors. They do it because it's the most effective way for them to learn how to use violence and to kill people. Okay? Therefore, they can't afford to get it wrong. So again, go to sources that can't afford to get the violence wrong. You won't see those guys punching to a chin. Okay? They want to go to places that get real results. All right, let's continue to watch.
This is not the natural catch. This is number one. Number two, when somebody is grabbing your shirt, he's contracted. Antonio, contract. I'm trying to break his face. It will be very, very hard. Until I will do this unnatural behavior. And this unnatural behavior, Antonio will fucking punch my face and I will go to sleep. Number three, another wonderful technique of commercial Krav Maga is to do this and to go into an armbar. Antonio, I want you to wrap around my arm and try to break my leg. Come on, strongly. No fucking chance. You know why? Because I'm contracted. The second I'm contracted,
he's making great points there. Again,
it will be impossible
to go to a guy that's already set and ready. It's very hard to break that. There's a way to do it. I'll talk about it in a minute.
What will Antonio do? I don't know. Maybe he will headbutt me, maybe he will punch me, because I don't know. Now try to do all those sophisticated techniques when somebody is grabbing you and pushing you strongly. Come on, push. This will be almost impossible, if not impossible. Now, what are we looking at? Guys, commercial Krav Maga is bullshit.
I love that guy saying commercial Krav Maga is BS. What he was showing was the fact that, hey, listen, when somebody has a leverage on you and they've got a superior grip and everything, if you just try to go strength on strength, which is what he was trying to do, you got to be bigger, faster, and stronger, and it's highly ineffective to go against somebody that way without prior injury. Now, if any of you have seen how we teach leverage, how we teach joint breaking or anything like that, we never go against a joint that's fully, able and there's no injury to person. If I want to break somebody's elbow, if I want to break their knee, any other part of the body, if I want to do an arm leverage like he's doing, I am going to strike somewhere on the body and I'm going to get a result. Maybe I'll kick him into the kidney. Maybe I will sit there and strike him into the bladder, something like that. And after that, the body is loose, and then it's much easier for me to get that arm or do whatever else I want to him. But again, that's the principle. If you're going to go and do leverage on somebody, make sure you get prior injury. Again, this is still technique based, and that is a dangerous thing. If you don't have overriding principles that you understand about injury, then you're going to be reliant on techniques. And as this gentleman just said, if you're shown an ineffective technique, it's going to be a long day for you. If you try to do something against somebody who is bared down, and they are not going to give it to you like they do in a class. So again, he was interesting. And again, in the Krav community, you have this. You have these guys that are some really hardcore practitioners. I met a lot of them. Most of them are still overseas. There are a couple of great guys here in the US that are pretty hardcore too. And what I mean by hardcore is they understand violence. They may not teach it exactly the same way I do. They may not have the principles, but they understand what works and what doesn't work. And then there are other groups out here that are still using the name Krav that, again, suspect on whether or not it will work. Now, this isn't a criticism of Krav. This is anything else. You know, I've had people that have attended a TFT weekend seminar, and they've tried to pass themselves off as instructors. Disaster. I would never put anybody out on the floor that doesn't have 10 times the experience of whatever it is that we're teaching. You know, it's just important. I can teach you a lot in a weekend how to protect yourself. For you to be able to pass that information on, well, you have to have a lot more instruction to be able to competently pass it on. It's just that. But again, what we saw in the demo, and then in the first instruction, in the second instruction, is a lack of consistent principles. And then also the training, I feel, is way too fast, too soon. I'm not saying speed doesn't have its place, but it's usually the last thing you need to put into the equation. And also, there's not an explanation of what a true injury looks like. Now, what I'm going to do is I just pulled this from one of my seminars. It was something where somebody was asking about the groin strike. The students weren't deploying body weight the way we needed them to deploy body weight. So I had two of the instructors give a demo. The one instructor that had it done on him is excellent at giving reactions. He was able to get out of the way, and the other instructor was able to go full speed. We did this in slow motion so you can see how much body weight is deployed and how much area is covered for this strike. Here it is. So this is the instructor. He's starting out. Look at how much area he covered. And now he's going to sit there and he's taking a step, and he's going to point where he started and where he ended up. And that's about how it looks. If you've ever seen anybody get struck to the groin, really struck to the groin, they rarely keep their feet. And as the instructor's pointing out, listen, I started over here. I ran way through him. It was the body weight deployment that did the injury. You're not just trying to tap somebody. You're trying to absolutely destroy the area. And listen, if you're a 90-pound woman, who wants 90 pounds traveling through their groin at full speed like that? You will get a reaction. Again, injury is everything. So, in closing, I have a lot of respect for the history of Krav Maga. I have a lot of respect for the people and the practitioners that use it. I have a lot of great friends in the Krav community. This is not a criticism of the system. Okay? What I am criticizing is the fact that, you know, a lot of people in that community go way too fast, way too soon, don't deploy body weight, are more impressed with looking cool with static strikes rather than really getting in there and making sure that they get an injury. Again, can't emphasize this enough. If you don't have the right principles, everything else is off. Peter Drucker said it best. Peter Drucker was a management consultant that is very famous. And he talked about the idea of the first thing you have to make sure is that whatever you're doing, you are effective in it. Okay? Effectiveness was defined by him as doing the right things, meaning making sure you understand the right things. And when it comes to self-protection, self-defense, the right thing is injury to the human body. Make sure you get that injury. The second thing, once you understand and you've identified all the right things, you then can focus on efficiency. Efficiency is a luxury. Efficiency is designed as doing the right things the right way. You can do the right things imperfectly and still get a huge result. A disaster for you would be getting really efficient at all the wrong things. And that's what you see in a lot of other reality self-defense programs. You see people looking good at stuff that won't get a result. So again, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you going over this. I hope you enjoyed this particular presentation that we did. I will be answering more of your questions. Please, subscribe to the channel. Please share it with your friends. And also go to surviveviolence.com. Give us your email and start getting some free content right away. If you like this, I go a lot more in depth. I have to be very careful what I put on YouTube, obviously, these days. But if you sign up and get our real material, I can be much more direct with you and really show you what it takes to make sure that you stay safe and your family stays safe for your own self-protection. All the best. See you soon.